Hello, fellow duelists. This is Shadow of the Moon, and today I'm going to be showing you my famous updated Blackwing deck profile for February of 2023. So, a lot has happened since this last deck profile. We got hit with the ban list. The ban list did basically completely destroyed tier elements, made it to where they were unplayable, and destroyed the Shizu cards, which I'm very, very happy for because I hated playing up against people who just did nothing but basically banish all of your or send all of your cards to the graveyard, and it just was really, really annoying. So there was always ways to kind of counteract it, but now we have an even bigger problem. The cash eras are incredibly annoying because they make it to where no zones are for you at all. No zones at all. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now playing Yu-Gi-Oh with only one monster zone, if that, per turn. So does that not sound like fun, boys and girls, being able to only play with one zone? But the good thing about it is there is light at the end of the tunnel and light at the end of the discussion, and that is they don't really have any Omni negate, so Castra is with a simple Dark Hole and a simple Raigeki can completely easily destroy all of their entire strategies, and they can't really do anything from then on out. But I went ahead and updated my deck profile to show you, and I actually did have plans to show you my extra deck. I was going to wait on that, but I'm kind of still testing the waters on that, and I'm still waiting on a few things to get here. So I just went ahead and going to show you the deck profile for February of 2023. So sit back and enjoy. And also, if you have not watched this video yet, I'm crediting Canuck Gaming and Silent BW or Silent Blackwing as kind of like people that I do usually watch and follow. So when I do deck profiles, I usually always am watching their videos and like laughing at how just random some of the suggestions are, but then how good they are. And I'm crediting them because also if you ever have any issues saying that, oh, this deck looks very similar, this deck is very close, or you're using the same strategy, I'm not going to be using the same strategy because there's a lot of cards in here that I'm actually choosing not to play. Like I don't play and I play Radeon instead of Ishida Spirit. I still play with Cypher Gamma, which a lot of people don't play with that anymore. They play with other hand traps and everything. So, and I also have a different extra deck because for one thing, I'm always playing Blackwing Armor Master. That's like my #1 card, and it kind of fluctuates what else that I'm playing in the extra deck. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into the deck profile. So obviously, your Simoon activates by revealing a Blackwing card from your hand. You can automatically then play Black Whirlwind directly from the deck, and then you go from there. That starts your combo. So mainly what the main combo for Blackwings are is going to be Simoon. You're going to have Simoon, Sudri, Vata, Zephyros the Elite, and Blackwing Dragon. That is going to be the main combo starter. So pretty much every route will be that exact route. Will end on that field at first. And then from there, whatever you choose to do is going to be completely different. And then we have 3 copies of Shamal. Shamal the Sandstorm is a great card in here because Shamal, you discard this card or tribute this card to be, or discard this card to be able to add Black Whirlwind directly from your deck and play it, Black Feather Whirlwind. And also it has a secondary effect that you can banish him to add a Blackwing monster back from your deck to your hand. Mainly you're going to be wanting to add Sudri because Sudri is going to allow you to, if you have knocked on the Starlight, you'll be able to normal summon again and get another Blackwing card, or get 2 Blackwing cards if you have Black Whirlwind. And then speaking of Sudri, we have 3 copies of Sudri. Sudri has a great secondary effect that a lot of people don't really play that often. So you contribute a Blackwing monster to make a level 2 tuner, and that really, really does help with this deck because this is a heavy synchro deck. For once, we finally have a Blackwing deck that focuses mainly on synchro summoning, and I'm really happy about that because that's what this deck's intended purpose was, even on 5Ds, because 5Ds is a show that was all about synchro monsters, so obviously Blackwings were all about synchros. Also, Sudri's main effect is, if you don't know what it does, Sudri's main effect will be that when this card is, when it's normal summoned, you can add from your deck to your hand a card that mentions Black Winged Dragon on it. So you can have Vata, it adds Shamal, it adds Twin Shadow, it adds Black Feather Whirlwind. So it adds very, very, important cards to the deck. And then 3 copies of Vata. Speaking of which, Vata is basically, he has pants now. So he's no longer Vata, the Emblem of Honor. He is now Vata, the Emblem of Wandering. So he's wandering around with his pants right now. And Vata has the effect that if you special summon him, you can tribute him and tribute like a monster like Zephyros the Elite, and then Hermart in the Dust or Chinook, and being able to special summon Black Winged Dragon directly from your deck. So that is why he's a very, very good card in here. He's also a level 2 synchro, which you do synchro from level 6s quite a bit. 1 copy of Zephyros the Elite. I did now finally decide to knock this down to 1. I still feel more comfortable playing 2, but I realize that there is no deck space to be able to play 2, so I'm using 1 right now. So Zephyros's best target is going to be that you're going to bounce back Black Feather Whirlwind to special summon him from the graveyard, and then replay Black Feather Whirlwind because it is not once per turn. And then you have 1 Gale, because Gale is an addition. Gale plus a Martin equals your level 8 Berserker, Draco Berserker. So that's why it's really good. Also can cut one of your opponent's monsters' attack and defense in half, and is not once per turn as a special summon. And then you have Steam the Cloak. There are ways, and I would be more than happy to show you eventually, when I'm going to be going through combos and stuff. Steam being in your hand does not mean that you're going to lose the game, but you want Steam to be in the graveyard as quick as possible, so you want to keep it in the deck. But if you end up not being able to have it, that's okay. You can have it banished, or you can have it in the graveyard, and you can still activate the effect. You can still get to where you're wanting to go with Borreload Savage, and then being able to go into Kali Yuga. And then we have 1 Martin the Dust. A Martin can modify its level by choosing a face-up Blackwing monster on the field. So if you have a level 3 on the field, you can make it a level 5. If you have a level 4, you can make it a level 6, and so on and so forth, which really helps you synchro climb and helps your plays. And then I love that we have our own basically hand trap again. Chinook is a great hand trap because it negates a monster's effect by sending a Blackwing monster from your deck to the from your extra deck to the graveyard. You can negate an opponent's monster's effect by that turn, and you can also decrease the attack by 700 points. And then we have an Orochi the Skull. Orochi the Skull is a level 1 tuner, and it counts monster. You can make it a level 6 into a level 7, and so on and so forth. A very, very good card in my opinion. I love still being able to use this. A lot of people have dropped this, but I still like being able to, because it is an extra Blackwing monster. And that's it for the Blackwing. So now we're going to go on to Raider's Wing. Raider's Wing is going to be in for your Kali Yuga. Once again, if this card is in your hand, it is not a big deal. You can still play around it. Yes, I do know hand traps are a thing, but you can still play around it if you have Raider's Wing in your hand, as long as you have what else that you need. And then we have Radion, because who doesn't need and who doesn't love a stereotypical kaiju in their deck? This is also used for the Small World Bridge to be able to help you get Small World by banishing this with its cost. But Radion is great because it is a dark type. It goes with the deck, and it does mess up your opponent, because you can pull this from Small World. You can activate the effect from there. And then we've got the Frame. We have the 3 copies of Frame, and we have the 1 copy of Driver. Obviously, this is going to be... I love these cards because they not only do they negate the effect, but they destroy the monster, which is what a lot of hand traps nowadays don't do. They just negate the effect, and you still have the monster on the field, so they can still use it. But with this, they just completely destroy them. Alright, so that's going to be it for the monsters. Let's move on to the spells and traps. So obviously, 3 Black Whirlwinds. This is the main centerpiece of the deck, just like Simoon is and Sudri. This is what's going to allow you to go have an amazing field, because you're going to be able to add from your deck to your hand a Blackwing monster when you normal summon it that has less attack than the monster. So you can use this card multiple times per turn, because it's not once per turn. And then 2 copies of Black Feather Whirlwind, because you're only going to need 2. Black Feather Whirlwind, if you synchro summon for a monster, or dark monster, you'll be able to special summon from your graveyard a monster, whichever one that you want. So mainly this is in here to kind of recycle the Vata, or recycle a monster that you want from your graveyard. Very, very good card. Don't really pull off its secondary effect that often. Allure of Darkness. Hopefully one day I can replace these with Pot of Prosperity if they ever get a reprint. Maybe with how Terra Elements aren't really being played anymore, or sprites. Maybe it'll make Pot of Prosperity go down a little bit, but Allure of Darkness is basically your poor man's version of it. Still a great card, because it allows you to draw 2 first, and then you banish the dark monster. So that's actually a very good, important card, because you get to get those 2 cards first before you get to banish that dark monster. And then 3 Small Worlds, because Small World works really great with this deck. This is a bridge to be able to go and get Simoon, because Simoon is the main card in your deck that you want to see in your hand every single game. So that's why you have cards like Radion. That's why you have all your other Blackwings and stuff to be able to act as kind of like a bridge for it. And then obviously you have your copy of Magic Launch. This is in here solely for Kali Yuga. And then for the traps, we've got 1 Twin Shadow. Twin Shadow, I'm actually playing another trap. Twin Shadow in here is because this is a great special summon of a Blackwing monster. You add both cards back to your deck to special summon the Blackwing monster that is the same level of the monster. Kind of like when Vata puts things into the graveyard, this puts it back into the deck and lets you special summon for the monster. And then lastly, we have 3 copies of Imperm, because Imperm is very important in this new format. Imperm is crucial because you get to stop their effects, and especially with Kashtiras, because most of their effects will be in when they hit the field. This is a main card to use in the deck. Alright, so that's going to be it for the main deck. Let's move on to the extra deck. So, I play 2 Assault and 1 Blackwing Dragon. You can play 2 Blackwing Dragons if you choose to. I'm choosing it because I only need it for the one effect. This will burn your... These 2, and then, you know, Full Armor Master is pretty much enough for you to burn your opponent to death because they're going to constantly be activating effects. But you're going to be using this. This effect is going to help you go into this because you're going to banish a Boreas and this to be able to go into your Blackwing Assault Dragon. And then if you have a Twin Shadow, you'll be able to go into another one. And then we have 1 Full Armor Master and 1 regular Blackwing Armor Master. I am never going to take out of this deck, so that is one thing. Just know real quick, I'm never taking this out of the deck, so I have no plans on ever doing that. And then we have Obsidian Tamer Hawk Joe. Tamer Hawk Joe is great because it has the effect to be able to special summon a level 5 or higher Blackwing monster from the graveyard, which is what you're going to be special summoning like Boreas, because it is a tuner, and you're going to be able to use that to synchro even further. And then we have Not Them to Starlight, which is pretty much the MVP of this deck, because you can activate its effect. You burn your opponent for 800 damage, and then you get to have an additional normal summoner set. So you're going to be using Sudri to basically grab another card from your deck to your hand. And then Boreas, the Wicked Wind. Boreas puts Twin Shadow into the graveyard and also can change its level depending on the monster that you sent to the graveyard. So if you send that, it becomes a level 3, and then it's another way for synchro modifying or level modifying. And then for the other ones, we have Draco Berserker of the Tenyai, which is going to be banishing monsters, which is quick effect when they activate an effect. And then Borderless Savage Dragon set up for your Omni Negate. Remember, you do not need this effect after you've activated Kali Yuga, because the material that you have with it, the link material, is going to be destroyed or sent back to the graveyard when you activate Kali Yuga's effect. So it's a one-time use only. And then for the Kali Yuga and Arsenal Falcon, obviously you got to have these 2. This shuts off your opponent's basically play. If they set anything during the end phase of the turn, it has a quick effect. You can destroy all set cards on the field. So yeah, basically you play that card, and then they pretty much either give you the win, they'll give you the W, or they'll keep trying to play and they'll struggle horribly. And then lastly, we've got Red Eyes Darkness, the Dragon Metal of Seal, and Rusty Bardiche and Wystrix. So basically, this is going to be another route to go into Arsenal Falcon if all your stuff either gets negated or if you don't have what you need. It's an easy way to do it because you can bring back Arsenal Falcon, and then Arsenal Falcon will have its effects negated. It'll be in defense mode, and you'll have Magic Launch at least set up for the next turn. Rusty Bardiche obviously set up Rusty Bart to set up Raider's Wing, and also to get you Magic Launch. And Wystrix will obviously be able to let you special summon a monster from your deck that's level 4 but negates its effects. Alright, so that's going to be it for this deck profile. I hope you enjoyed it. This is just such a fun deck. I love this. This is my deck and has always been my deck and will always probably be my deck because I love Blackwing so much. I've been playing Blackwings for about, believe it or not, it's been about 12 years now. So yeah, a long time to be playing Blackwings, but I just really love this deck, and I loved being able to see that we got support. It made me so happy when I saw that we had Blackwing support. At first, I was kind of iffy on it because I was thinking, well, how is this going to work? Everyone's so focused on always bringing out, Kali Yuga, but believe it or not, you can still use Kali Yuga. It didn't change anything. If anything, it actually made it a lot easier. So, but yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this deck profile, and I hope you have a really good day. And with that, I'll see you guys next time. Later.